All right, so we are running a little bit behind. It's okay. Things happen, but Tim raising his hand.
It's all Tim's fault.
it's it's
Always my
it's
fault.
it's all it's all Tim's fault. Let me remove this from the. There we go. It's all Tim's fault. Tim's got his lag and he's got his rolling behind. It's Tim's fault because Tim is the busiest man in Kanawha / Putnam County.
I'm not sure about that, but it's
He's Tim can walk outside and take one leg and put it on one side of the road and put the other leg on the other side and be in two different counties.
close.
Yeah, it's close. You know what? I don't know what will be cheaper taxes for you, Kanawha County or Putnam County. I don't know.
Who
I
knows?
think that would probably be Putnam. I don't know. Then again, I've heard Putnam's bad about taxes too. So.
Yeah, Putnam's pretty good about forgetting things or losing things.
Right. But anyway, we are back bi-weekly. Of course, we're running a little bit of time, different time today. Normally we start at 3 o'clock, but I had some things that I couldn't get out of work. Had to work because of the 4th was being recognized yesterday in most places. I don't know if that was like around the country. I'm not sure, but we recognized it yesterday, the Monday anyway, as the actual paid holiday day as opposed to Sunday. So that made me have to work today, and I got out a little bit early to come and do what we do every other Tuesday. And of course, we got Tim and Elizabeth's live on camera there. Hey, and then of course, we got Jim. We got James Lawrence up there. He's all the way from us. Roll down your wrestling promotions there that you've been working with.
Appalachian Championship Wrestling, International Combat Sports, and unfortunately, I kind of was hoping for the illusion of Hollywood for the Mega Pro Championship Wrestling, Mega Pro. I would have worked for them had I not broken my leg. So I was going to list that as one of my credits prior to this, because I would have done it prior to us doing this today, but I broke my leg and that kind of knocked that out. So a lot of the guys that work that wrestle for Mega Pro also wrestle for ACW and ICS as well.
Quickly,
are all those local?
I'm sorry.
Are all those like local?
Yeah.
Wrestling
all of them run shows once a month. Appalachian Championship Wrestling is the one that I mainly work for. I have never refed for ICS. I run camera for them for during their shows. I hope to be reffing for them soon, but I've been their cameraman for a while now, and you go where you're needed. That's where they needed me over there, was to run camera. So that's what I went to do for them.
Hey Tim, I wanted to tell you real quick, if you want to take a moment so you can share this to your Facebook page. That way that I know that you got them to go to Third Floor Comics as well, but just in case they don't go there, you can share it to. I don't know if you already have or not, but sharing it to your personal Facebook page. Kobe says, "What's up, guys?" Kobe is we'll have to get Kobe a something for how they do the fan of the month. Like if you go, I always share things from TNT basketball, so from time to time I'll get the fan of the month or something, and they'll highlight my name or whatever. We gotta get something for Kobe. If we had dry ice, we could have Elizabeth.
We could send him a cake.
That's right.
We could send cookies, but the problem is it's summer now, and that's probably
don't
not
melt.
wise.
Sugar cookies don't really melt. You can't put chocolate chips, but
But that's my cookie, the American Roy, the chocolate chip.
Hey, there you go. But yeah, you said that it was Appalachian Wrestling, and you said it was Combat Sports. What was the other one?
Mega Pro Wrestling.
Mega Pro Wrestling. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what we were talking about yesterday and today is that how you got into the wrestling business.
It's really cool because coming from a fan perspective, because that's basically I started out going here to the local indie shows, ICS, All-Star Wrestling out of Beckley is a really, really good one too. I started going to Appalachian Championship Wrestling shows, all these local shows, just I haven't been able to watch televised wrestling in a long time, and I'm talking WWE, AEW. It's garbage. I'll just say that, and I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to pass. I'm going to hit the pass button and get past it. I'm not going to sit here and draw a rant on the things that I don't like. But I, being a wrestling fan, still wanted to see wrestling, and I started noticing that these local promotions were bringing in some of the guys that I grew up watching, as far as, legends, just for meet and greets and stuff. So that was enticing enough for me to just go down and meet some of these guys that I watched as a kid, and get their autograph and say, hey man, thanks for the the cool memories. And I started to get to know some of the local wrestlers, became friends with a few of them, and just through conversations over time, like my buddy Kevin, Kevin Tyler. He's one of the first people locally that I really got to know that in the business. I knew other people, but let me say this: I didn't know they were in the business at the time, so it was kind of weird. Like some of the people that I know were professional wrestlers, although I didn't know they were professional wrestlers. If you get my meaning. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Tyler, at one of the shows, came up and was like, man, dude, you've got a good mind for this. Because we would talk, just fantasy booking, how I would book, the WWE or whatever. And, he's like, man, you got a pretty decent mind for this. You should get involved. Well, I never really thought that, number one, I'm, 145 pounds soaking wet wearing boots. I'm scrawny. And, so me getting into the wrestling business, I was thinking, they were thinking, me do it as a wrestler. And I'm like, I would get killed. These guys are like 100, 150, 200 pounds more than me. They're going to, and please understand, it's a work. But let me say this, all those bumps are real. All those, let me say this, when you see us get drop kicked, we're actually getting kicked. There's no way to fake that. Sometimes they don't make contact if you're lucky, and you may be able to time it right and take the bump. But in order to actually make it look legit, you actually have to take a legit kick. I mean, it's people think, oh, wrestling's fake, and I hate that term. It's a work. We're not trying to really kill each other, but we're working, and we're there to put on a show. And, I don't want to expose anything else and break kayfabe or anything like that any further than what I have. But, it being what it is, a lot of people, I hear people say, oh, I can get up there and do that. I can get up there and do that. And then they get up there and they find out that the bumps are real. Like your first day, and I'm a referee. Now, I'm not a wrestler, so I don't take anywhere near as many bumps as what the wrestlers do. But your first day, you leave training, you're sore. And there's a lot of people who wouldn't come back after that first day because you're beat up. I mean, they're not like abusing you or anything, but you have to prepare your body to get used to taking these, falls. Basically, however tall you are is a straight back bump from your height to the floor. This is how far you fall. And, you don't really think about that, but that's about the speed of a 35-mile-an-hour car crash every time you do it. So it adds up, and it over time you get used to it. Like I'm used to taking the bumps now, but those first couple of months, man, oh my gosh, it's like I'd leave there and I'd be like, I need to leave and rub down and Epsom salts and like 2 weeks to recover. And just
let me ask you this.
It's fun. The people who get into it pretty much understand what they're getting into. They don't fully know until they get into it, but they have a good understanding of what it is. I didn't know it. But getting back to the story, though, I kind of took the long way around, and I do this when I talk. I started talking with my buddy Kevin, and he made the suggestion. And I found a couple of other friends also felt the same way. And about the end of 2019, right, as the pandemic was just starting to warm up and get going, I had consciously made, come to the conclusion that I'm actually going to give this a try. Well, I thought I could get in and be a manager. That's what I wanted to do because I can run my mouth. I can cut a promo on somebody, and I'm good at it.
Teddy Long, you know.
But I got in there, and a lot of guys, the reason why they need managers is because they can't talk in front of a camera or can't cut a promo. Well, around here, there are people like that, but in order to get better at cutting a promo on the independent level, you have to do it. Managers on the indie level are few and far between. They're good ones. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the ones that are managers are good. But there's more room on the card for referees. There's more of a need for referees on the card than there are managers, because you may only work one match on the card as a manager. As a referee, I might end up working either the whole card by myself or alternating matches with another referee, splitting the difference, just catch a break and get our win and grab a drink between each match. But I put right around February, I was like, I'm going to do this. And then they shut everything down. And I was just like, ugh. So I ended up getting delayed about a year getting into it. And but it always stayed on my mind. And I made up my mind. And once things started to slow down and the vaccines became readily available and I got my vaccine, I went ahead and I was like, okay, I'm going to go try this. The worst I can do is fail. At least I tried. And I got in, started training at ACW, which if anybody that's listening or watching is interested in training, contact Appalachian Championship Wrestling through Facebook, send them a message, and they will get back with you. They have excellent trainers in Chris Cannon, Joe Montgomery, and Chris Parker, Zayden Kane. We honestly, I think as far as our facilities go, we have one of the only places that acts as both a training facility and a TV studio. And we're probably here within the next few months going to start filming studio wrestling and having about 25 to 30 people in the studio to watch.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask actually you and Tim at the same time, because Tim has had a few times at his shop. He's had wrestlers there doing signings, autographs, and things like that. So let me ask you this, the both of you actually. And I'll go ahead and but what's it? I've personally met two wrestlers in my life. One was I was at the Ramada back when the Ramada was downtown, and they kind of had a club thing going on. We'd go there like on Wednesday nights or something. I don't know. And DDP was there, and I got to meet him in person. The other one I got to meet was a few years ago. I was in New York. I was in Manhattan, and I got to meet Maven. Maven was from the WWE, where the people tried out for Tough Enough is what it was.
Yeah.
So Tim has also met several wrestlers over the years, because Tim has had signings at his shop, and you've actually I know that Jim, that you work with Shane Douglas, and Tim's, you've had Shane Douglas at your shop,
yeah,
right?
Shane fell asleep inside the store. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, he's had no lawsuits. No lawsuits.
I don't know who came with Shane Douglas. I remember Shane Douglas was one that we didn't have a very good turnout for it, and a guy by the name of Moose, I don't know his real name. He was there acting as their promoter for him, and we had maybe 30 people show up. Then after they showed up, it got kind of quiet, and Shane Douglas just passed out the table. So,
oh man. Well, it was a hot day in Nitro.
No, it's during the winter. It was really cold, and I didn't have the heat on.
What were you feeding him?
Well, he probably got so
What were the
cold,
hors d'oeuvres?
his heart started to stop a little bit. But no, my question is that like Tim, like myself, who have met a couple wrestlers, there's always kind of the in my case, it was kind of the deja vu thing, because it's still, even though it was Diamond Dallas Page, it took me a couple minutes to my brain to realize that, oh, that's Diamond Dallas Page, because there was a guy in the corner, and I'm sitting there drinking my beer or whatever I was drinking on, and the thong songs playing, and the Humpty Dance was next, and there's a guy in the corner all these females just rush over to him, and he's signing arms, and he's signing chest, and he's signing T-shirts and all this. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? And I walk over there. It was Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. Real nice guy. He shook my hand, and I didn't ask him a whole lot of questions and whatnot. The other one was Maven. But my question is that my experience meeting these some other wrestlers in person was just crazy. Tim getting to hang out with a couple of them at his shop, I'm sure, it was kind of one of those things like, wow, I'm actually seeing this person, not just on television, but face to face. You, on the other hand, when you step into a ring, an actual wrestling ring for the first time, what did that feel like as opposed to seeing it from like the stands in a like arena, civic center, etc.?
The very first time when I stepped in the ring, it was I don't want to sound so cliche, and it was magical. It was cool. It was something that you when you're a kid and you grow up watching it, and even into your teens and adult years, and there's this mystique. These guys that come in, the Ric Flairs and the Hulk Hogans and Dusty Rhodes and Macho Mans and all these guys, were in a ring just like one that you're standing in at one point. And I'm not talking about WWF. I'm talking about when they first got started. They were in a ring very much the same as the one I was standing in, wrestling in front of, crowds, maybe 25, 30 people to 100 to 200, and then ultimately 20,000, 100,000, for WrestleMania 3 or whatever it was, but the first time I stepped through the ropes, and it wasn't even like a real match. It was a trainee match. And I was actually, in my first official doing it for real. These guys know what they're doing. I'm doing it for real, even though this is just a training match. For me, it was important to make sure, like, I was really nervous about being in the right spot for the finish. A lot of times a finish can get really messed up by somebody being out of position, whether it's a wrestler or the referee or whatever. And I was really concerned about things like that. And I was uptight, very, very nervous. Now I've gotten to the point now where I'm relaxed, because at the same time, those you've got two guys that are beating the crap out of each other, and they're doing their thing. And they're acting crazy and doing all these flips and stuff like that. I'm the one guy that actually gives it relevance and reality. I keep it grounded, per se, in a real sense, in quotes. Without the referee, you just have two dudes in underwear beating each other up with no context whatsoever.
Hey, you know what? That's the thing. A lot of people like me, myself, in the beginning of, as a kid, I just seen the ref out there as just a guy counting 1, 2, 3. But
yeah,
I don't think a lot of people realize how much that the referee in a wrestling match actually has to do with it, because to you just watching it on television or seeing it live in person, you're like, oh, he's just out there, just to do the 1, 2, 3 count. But the referee, I call it like rhythm. The two wrestlers in rhythm, and the referee's right in there in that rhythm.
It's very much like a dance. The biggest thing that you want to do is stay out of the way, because they're going to do what they're doing, and you don't want to screw them up. Because you could get hurt. I mean, legitimately, that's how I got injured, was in the ring. Mm-hmm. The ring can bite you, and it can bite you pretty hard. Whenever they're in there doing their thing, it's like a dance. Even though you don't really know the steps of the dance, because a lot of stuff, believe it or not, there's a big there's like, when it comes to a match, there's two ways you can do a match. You can plan one out in the back and say, we'll start with this and we'll do this and this and this, and then we'll finish with this. Or there's the old school way of doing it, where you call it as it happens, and you're in the ring, you lock up, and hey, blah 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 blah, and do it. Once again, I don't want to give too many of the secrets away, but you know, whenever as a referee, your job not only is to just count the 3 count or whatever, you're actually there to make sure that these guys don't get hurt. Because if one of them gets hurt and the other one doesn't know it, it's on me to make, hey, whoa, stop. We got to, you know, slow things back. And I've actually had to stop a match once, not because of injury, but because, and I'm not going to name names, but one of the wrestlers, this was a training match, thankfully, so nobody saw this, had been out the night before, I guess, you know, had been out all night, had a few to drink, came in the next day doing some training and got with one of the trainees and was working a match with them. And next thing I know, he takes a bump, a hip toss or something, and I see him kind of like shoot towards the ropes on his belly, you know, trying to act like he was getting away, but he wasn't trying to leave the ring. Like, you know, you would think if I'm trying to get away from somebody, I'm going to leave the ring in posture, and, you know, and he's just sitting there. And then I see the back of his head just kind of retch up a few times. And here she comes in as training. He's training her. She grabs him by the foot, starts pulling back. I'm like, no. The match is like, man, he was hurling his guts up over the side of the ring. And it was hot. He was hungover. It was just one of those things where, you know, it's just bad combination of everything and getting out there and bumping around and it being like 95 degrees outside. And, you know, it just caught up to him. And, you know, I that was the one time I've had to stop a match. But I'm, you know, as a referee, I don't know if all referees are certified in first aid. I am. So if something does happen, I can actually, you know, try to assist immediately if something bad, God forbid, that happens. But fortunately, I've worked with some not just legends, but even the guys around here are really, really professional, and there's not a lot of injuries, thankfully.
Well, you know, Tim, I was going to say that right beside your store in the little park area, you know, that would be a perfect spot to have a show.
There's a wrestling group over inside the old high school building, and I don't remember what their initials are or whatever, but they came to us during COVID to want to see if Nitro would try to help them plan an outdoor event, and they wanted to do it either at the lake or of the city park. And I was all for it. My buddy Jim, who was over Parks and Rec at the time, he was all for it, but the city kind of shot us down for it. So they ended up doing it at Power Park, having a great turnout for it. I heard it was a great event, but for whatever reason, Nitro wasn't real keen on sponsoring it or hosting it during COVID.
Gotcha.
Park would probably be a good location for it. We brought a group out to Riding Our Lake for the Festival of Fright a few years ago, and the crowd absolutely loved it. I mean, we had some issues with the promoter and a few other things that happened along the way, but as far as the public actually loved it. You know, I didn't get a chance to watch too much of it. I was on the other side of the park doing something else. But from what I heard over the loudspeaker and the feedback I got from the people, it was a great event.
Now, I wanted to ask Elizabeth here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we talked earlier. You don't have a lot of wrestling knowledge other than Becky Lynch. By the way, Becky Lynch is the female in my mind. She's the female version of Stone Cold. Yeah, she's the female version, and she's really, really good. Really, really good. It's weird because you go and every wrestler has a beginning where they look a certain way. And then over time, of course, everyone evolves. So it's weird to go back and see Becky Lynch in the beginning to what we haven't seen her in a while because she just had a kid, but see her in the beginning to see her is now. But what I was getting at is that female wrestlers have come a long, long way. And the talent, the likes of people like Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and this what's the one girl over in AEW, the dentist lady, I can't remember what her name is, but
Britt Baker.
Yes. The female talent has come a long way. Now, if you probably, even if you've never really watched wrestling, Elizabeth, you probably know names like I would say Trish Stratus. No, you don't know Trish Stratus.
Like I told you, my extent of wrestling knowledge is Mickey Rourke and the Wrestler because I
Which is
love
an
Mickey
excellent
Rourke.
Great film.
And I
Yeah.
love Mickey Rourke, and it was a great film for him in particular.
Right.
And Becky Lynch happened to be the cocktail waitress at a bar restaurant that was around the street from my, or was around the corner from my apartment when I lived in Hell's Kitchen in New York. And she was really, I mean, I remember, I mean, she's just really special. I mean, she just was, I had no idea why she had this pit stop in New York and where she was going and what, I mean, she mentioned she liked wrestling, but I didn't know a whole, she and her brother, and I didn't know much about what, I mean, I had no idea. Next thing you know, I like am on looking at something on TV and there she is. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's Rebecca. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's really cool to see her. You know, she's the nicest person on the face of the planet.
Yeah, she's big time right now. Big time. She,
Huge.
like I said, she is the female version of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the WWE right now. Big time, big time, big time.
And I will say she's that beautiful when you see her in person. I mean, she is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that's just the way she looks. I mean, she's really pretty and she's really nice. She just could not get any nicer. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you know, some people are a certain way, you just don't know. I mean, she is the real deal. There's no question.
Well, even then, you know, I've been fortunate, you know, to meet all the legends and stuff that I've met with and work in the ring with and stuff in the short amount of time that I've been doing this. And I can honestly say that I've not met anybody who was a jerk.
Right.
Some people have good days, some people have bad days, and if somebody's a jerk to me, then, you know, I'll let it pass the first time. You know, if it happens again the second time, well, then I know not to go around them. But for the most part, like, you know, people have good days, people have bad days. Because you know, he mentioned Shane Douglas and stuff. I train at the franchise factory. Shane is very, very direct. I love training for him. I mean, the guys that he actually has at the school are trainers. Chris Cannon, Zayden Kane, and Joe Montgomery are three of the best in the area, period. I can't really put these guys over enough because they took me at my advanced age and, you know, it was like, no, you can still do this. And here I am, you know, I say advanced, I'm 47 years old. And
that's nothing.
Yeah, but it's late in the game for wrestling. It's very late in the game for wrestling. And you know, they accepted me and they imparted their knowledge and wisdom on me. And honestly, you know, everything that I've accomplished is because of them. I got to give credit where credit's due. Moose, you know, he's another one I have to give credit to because honestly, I started talking to him. And he was bringing guys like Shane Douglas and stuff in for these other shows to do the meet and greets. And I'd always just stand there and talk to Moose, and we just, you know, BS about wrestling and just, you know, in general, and got to know each other. And, you know, Moose made the suggestion too, you know, you need to come down and start training, you know. And I of course, look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, man, I'm 145 pounds soaking wet wearing boots on a good day. I don't see myself doing this. But then when I got down there and actually sat there and talked to them, and they were like, well, you know, here's what we personally need at ACW. Because I wanted to be a manager. I really had my heart set on that. But I found out that I could get a lot more gigs, a lot more bookings by doing the referee thing. And it turns out that I don't want to brag on myself because I'm not like that. Evidently, people think I'm pretty good because I've pretty much gone from nobody status to working with Shane Douglas and Rhino and Mr. Hughes and all these legends, you know, that are getting brought in. And I'm fortunate enough to be the one that they're given the green light to work these matches.
Speaking of that,
that tells me I must be doing something right. I must be at least halfway decent at what I'm doing.
I wanted to pull these pictures up and if you could tell us who you work. I know who they are.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you got you and what's Shane Douglas. and
Shane
Mr.
Douglas there on my left, and Mr. Hughes there on my right. Mr. Hughes is permanently in gimmick. I don't think I've ever seen him not in gimmick. Even when he's in training, he's in gimmick. He's a little softer, but he's still Mr. Hughes. D'Lo Brown, man,
Yeah.
I just had a match with D'Lo, just referee a match for him, and I had a training class with him. And matter of fact, that picture right there was before I broke my leg. So maybe D'Lo cursed me or something. I don't know. But no, D'Lo, I got to sit under the learning tree with him. That's us with D'Lo and Mr. Hughes again. Mr. Hughes just happened to pop in. He was at that show the night before that I worked. Actually, I worked all their matches. It was great. See, that's Chris Cannon beside Mr. Hughes, one of my trainers.
Mhm.
I don't see any of the other trainers in there at the time. No, that's it.
How many females in the Appalachian?
Right now, we have 2 that are in our facility on a regular basis, but they bring in others. Ricky Morton. Now, Ricky was awesome. Let me tell about the girls, and then I'll get back to Ricky.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
We've got Miss Judy Ray Hendricks. She's young, and oh my gosh, she is so good. I got to referee. She and Colby Max were the first women's match I got to referee, and they battled to a time limit draw. I mean, they really took it to each other, and honestly, it was probably one of the best matches on the card. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you earlier talking about how women's wrestling has come a long way."
Mhm.
It's come a long way, and it's still got a long way to go. But I'm glad we're finally starting to see, the girls come out and not only get their due, but they're actually performing. And I think this was the problem back in the late 90s, early 2000s, because women back then were being used as eye candy more
Right.
so than their athletic talent. The girls that are actually being trained, and they're going out there and they're actually hitting each other and putting on real performances, as opposed to hiring these. And there's nothing wrong. And once again, they're not just they're models acting like wrestlers. If you get my meaning, these girls are wrestlers. They're not models. You know what I mean? They could be models. They could very well be models, but they're not models being paid to wrestle. They're wrestlers who wrestle, and they go out there and knock each other's heads off, man. I can't say enough about women's wrestling in general today. They're performing at a level that's equal to the guys for once, because they're finally being given the platform to do so.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna ask you is if you could plug one more time the dates, or like I know that there's a combat sports. I think is it today or was it yesterday?
ICS had one just last week. I was actually at that show. I didn't get to run camera for them because of the broken leg, but I was there in attendance and cheering the guys and booing the guys on, and stuff. But that was last week. Give me just 1 second. Let me grab my book here.
Go ahead.
Go through and get all the dates, because
we
honestly,
want to plug the dates for you. So
I'm horrible with trying to remember everything, so I have to write it down. So give me just a minute here. I'm hobbling along.
Elizabeth,
so it might take me a second.
You're
How
fine.
do I respond to the chat?
You should be
There's
able
not
to.
like a little box or anything.
There's not a box underneath it.
Whatever. Thanks, Kobe. I appreciate that.
I can respond to it.
There's more. There's more crap on the other side.
How do I even see? Is there a chat? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a chat. No, Elizabeth was asking. You guys should be. Tim, can you respond? You're on your tablet though, aren't you, Tim?
On my tablet, it won't. I can't respond from my tablet.
Yeah, I can't. I can't see any questions or anything like that. So if people are asking questions,
maybe I need to log in or something. I don't know.
No.
Now, if I'm on to my laptop, I can respond to them, but through my tablet, I can't.
And I'm on my laptop this time, so.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not sure as to why. I don't know. But Kobe can hear you though. Oh, Jim
Jim
turned his
disappeared.
camera. Jim disappeared. There he is.
There you are.
Kobe, yeah, if you wanted to,
Sideways.
I'm
he
glad
was
it's
in
my
the he was
first
in
beat.
the
It was sort of like the Brady Bunch.
I
thing.
can't hear anything, guys.
Can you hear us, Jim? Jim, can you hear us?
Can't hear
No.
us.
Hold on, let me take a look at something. No, your microphone's not muted.
Now, Elizabeth,
Can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you.
I can hear Jim.
I cannot hear.
I can
No
hear
sound.
Jim.
Can't hear anything.
Can you hear me, Elizabeth?
I can hear you.
And you can hear Tim, right?
Tim, speak.
Is that a real Millennium Falcon or a non?
Yes. It's like from 2000 or something. It's not an old one. I mean, well, now it's 20 years old, so
Yeah, well,
it's not one of the originals. No.
Jim, can you are you still with us? Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
yes.
I cannot hear you. I'm not getting any sound. I accidentally hit a button and it kind of screwed things up for a second. And now I junked the whole thing.
If you log in and out, will that fix it?
Well, what we're going to do is because he can't hear me, I'll send him a message. I have to boot him out and then send him another invite here.
Maybe can hear everyone.
What we're going to do is let me see something here. His mic is muted, is what it is. I can't control his mic because he muted it on his end or something. What we'll do is I'll boot him out and then send him another message. I can control your mics as well, but with him.
Sorry, guys, that was my fault. I accidentally hit one of the things down there and it junked everything.
Okay, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? No,
I don't think he can.
I can't hear you guys at
I think he
all.
was just making a statement.
Right. So what we'll do is we'll remove him there, and then I'll send him another one. I was going to tell you guys that I got it up here. Let me bring him back real quick. But had a couple cool things I was going to go over with you guys. One was about Harrison Ford.
Have y'all
Harrison
seen
still
the
got it
interview
going
he
on.
does? Have y'all seen the interview that he did with Fallon?
No, I haven't.
And the guy from it's supposed to be one of the crew members from Jimmy Fallon's show brings out a Lego Millennium Falcon. He's getting ready to ask. He asked Harrison Ford a question about the hilt on Luke Skywalker's saber. Harrison Ford's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is stupid. So he's like, hands him this giant Lego Millennium Falcon. Said, I spent 80 hours building this. Could you sign it for me? So Harrison Ford grabs it.
Oh God!
There was what? Jim, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No, still can't hear anything. No. Maybe I should back out and go back to the email and try it again.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And there
was one. Did you see the one where he was on? I think it was Jimmy Fallon as well, and they had Chewbacca in the audience, and they were going back and forth. And I think Chewbacca said something about his mom or something like that. And Harrison's got a good sense of humor. How about now?
I can definitely hear you.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
Sorry about that, guys. That was my fault.
You're fine. You're fine. We were gonna plug your we were gonna plug the Appalachian Wrestling one more time and the Combat Sports one more time. And we were gonna have you show run through your belts real quick. Show us your belts. He's got a fabulous belt collection there.
This isn't even my whole collection. I have 3 more that are kind of being used. I play. I'm a big nerd. I play a Dungeons and Dragons style card and dice game called Legends of Wrestling, Phil Singer Games, and me and my guys that we play, we use those belts for our championships. So the winners get to take those belts home.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty cool.
Well, let me see here. I'm going to turn the camera here. This up here is a toy of the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA World's Heavyweight title. Which is that's my all-time favorite belt. you'll see here in a second. Let me.
No, don't hurt yourself, by the way.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. This here is a belt buckle. How good can y'all see that? Can you see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the real thing. That is a pin on a leather cuff. That is the original version of the 10 pounds of gold. Another pin. That's a toy belt that goes around like a toy wrestler. I have a book. This here is a belt buckle that was made back in 1985. It's massive. Like if I put my hand up to it, you can see the size of how big it is. I have the NWA Television Championship. This is what is called a coin version of it. The NWA, let me see here. I'm trying to get it in position where I can see what you guys see, so I'm not blocking you guys out or anything. The NWA US Championship that became the WWE Championship eventually, or WWE US Championship, I should say. That is a coin also. This here is the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Championship with a dog toy in the way. Let me remove that. That was a promotion that Jim Cornette started back in the 90s and ran from like 91 to like 95 before he got burned out trying to run it. That there is my dog's Divas Championship because she's a diva and she is the champion. I also have this is a NWA National Heavyweight Championship. This was used up until like 85 or 86, and then they kind of got rid of the belt. That is a duster from where I was dusting earlier, trying to. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good.
This here is the Pacific Northwest Championship. This was a territory title. It covered Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. I really don't know anything about the belt other than the fact that it looked really cool, and I got it for a really good deal because it's a little. It's older, so I got a good deal on it. This one, I'm sure Melvin recognizes for sure.
Sure, the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, this is the one. The Wayne Diesel, Hogan, Bret Hart, Sergeant Slaughter, Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
All the big names held that one for sure.
Oh, he kicked himself out. He can come back in, but there he goes, right there. You and those slick buttons, I tell you.
Yeah, I did it again, man. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. But no, I also have other things like autographed pictures and stuff, but I've got those put up in because I don't have enough picture frames for them, and I've got them put up in cases, and they're a little bit hard for me to get to right now.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember as far as the belts go. Generally, like if people go to buy them, they, depends on their thickness and what type of metal they are and stuff. Mine are mostly zinc, right. So they're a little bit more pricey, but the etching is better on zinc. A lot of them I've had, they were made as opposed to like, just saying, hey, I want to buy that. And then, I go purchase. Right. A lot of them guys will, order and then they don't want to pay them off or whatever. And then I'll swoop in and get them for a deal. Because I know a couple of guys that deal directly with makers.
Hold on, Jody has a question for you. Jody wants to know, what is your thoughts? Let me put this on the screen there. Can you see that? Jim? What is your thoughts on Ricky Morton? And have you had any run-in with Robert Gibson?
Honestly, man, Ricky Morton was awesome. Oh my gosh, he came in and. He had a match with Shane Douglas in the studio, which was a great match. Shane Douglas, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on if you cheer for the bad guy or cheer for the good guy, Shane Douglas used dirty tactics to retain the ACW championship. I wasn't refereeing that match because I would have caught him. I wouldn't have let him get away with it. But, it happens. Ricky came in and did a seminar before the match for us. And he is one of those people, when he walks into the room, he commands your attention. Like he's such a showman every little thing he does is meant to grab not just your attention, but the whole room. The littlest movements, the littlest tiny thing he does, it's done to get your attention. Every bit of it. He was given the girls in the training class some instructions, and he actually walked around like a girl, and was doing all this stuff as if if I was a girl heel, this is what I would do. If I was a girl baby face, this is what I would do. And it was great. The dude is such a performer. I have nothing but respect and love for the man. I mean, he came in. We were getting ready to take that picture that you showed, and there's other ones. They did it in a succession where they were just taking machine gun shots, just click, 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 and they got Ricky Morton saying, "We'll get the best picture of the day," and then he covered my face. I mean, and he it's just that's the type of person he is. I've not met Robert Gibson, but I've heard nothing but good things about him. As a matter of fact, I've never heard anyone. And now, granted, I'm not friends with these guys or anything like that. It's not like I run in circles with these guys or anything else. I've just been fortunate enough to work with them. But when I've worked with them, you hear things in the locker room, who's cool, who they're cool with, who they're not cool with, and all that stuff. I've never heard a negative word said about Ricky Morton. Not one. Not one ever said about his son, Kerry, and not one said about Robert Gibson. So, everybody, in the business has some sort of heat with somebody along the way, whether it's just, you rub them the wrong way, or they feel that you shouldn't have got the push that you did and they should have, or whatever. But I've never, ever heard anybody say anything negative about Ricky Morton.
Good.
Class act. Straight.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, hey, we're first of all, I wanted to thank you for coming on and hang out with us and talking.
I'm sorry it kind of things got kind of sideways here, a couple of times, and that took a couple of minutes away.
Okay.
I thank you for the opportunity of having me on here and stuff, and I hope I put everybody that I've had dealings with in this business over. I can't say anything nice enough about the promoters, Coop from Mega Pro, even though he gave me, I had the job lined up and then I got injured. He's like, man, when you get healed up, come on back. I haven't even worked a show for him. That tells you what kind of guy he is. He's a great guy. I know Josh Kyle for the promoter for ICS. He also runs Squared Circle Burgers. And if you get a chance,
down in Campbell Street.
Gosh, dude, if you ever get a chance to go out there and eat, I know it's a little bit of a trip if you're coming from Putnam County and from Maryland, but if you make your way here, I'm telling you, go to Squared Circle Burgers. Their food is phenomenal. It is incredible.
Tim, have you been there?
Have you the American Dream Burger that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
The American Dream.
Yeah, it's Squared Circle Burgers is right there in Campbell's Creek. It's maybe just a mile or two up the holler, but it's not very far at all. And I've heard, I actually need to go there myself and grab something. I've heard big things about him, and I have lots of friends that make comments about how good the food is and the experience. And you got the wrestling memorabilia on the walls.
You go in, you see there's all these cool. He's got belts and shirts and autographed memorabilia on the walls. He's got usually like some special pay-per-view from the past going on. Like I went in one time and he had like SummerSlam, whatever, and I got to watch Undertaker and Mankind duke it out. In a match that I don't remember. You know what I mean? That wasn't Hell in a Cell. That was still a really good match. So you get to see all kinds of stuff, and then you get the food, which is like, what you're there for in the first place. It's definitely the place is an experience, and the food is just incredible. I mean, I can't gush enough about it.
Awesome.
As far as the promotions, man, ACW, check us out on Facebook, Appalachian Championship Wrestling, International Combat Sports, Mega Pro Wrestling, All Star Wrestling out of Beckley. There's Battleground Wrestling These are all local in West Virginia. And if you're in any area, I suggest you go to these shows, because these guys that are on these shows could very well be working for the WWE within the next year or two, could very well be working for AEW or Ring of Honor or the NWA or any of the bigger promotions.
That's how it starts.
I
Yeah.
had a chance to work with NWA.
What's that?
You're
Have you had
disbanded.
to work with NWA.
The NWA?
The MWA.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the National Wrestling Alliance or
Because Easy E is gone.
or
I
Easy
was
E.
gonna say, I like both. I'm a fan of both.
No, let's talk about midget wrestling.
I really liked 100 Miles and Running. I think that was probably their best album post Cube. But no, if the National Wrestling Alliance is what I'm talking about. The
Midget
NWA,
Wrestling Association.
the what?
Midget wrestling. Have
Oh,
you
the
actually
midget.
worked
Oh
with
no,
midget?
I've never seen that. No, I
They
would
put on
probably
a
I'd rep for them though if they
fantastic
wanted me to.
show.
I'd work at Gig in a heartbeat.
It's a fun show. I had more fun watching the midget wrestlers than I did the full size wrestlers.
Now, like the only thing I have to worry about is like making one of them mad. Just of course, when they do that, they're not really hitting me. They'd be hitting me.
Right.
I want to get hit there.
And your Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah,
Right.
the boys.
Well, hey, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on, and guys, be sure to check out Appalachian Championship Wrestling. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Appalachian Championship Wrestling, International Combat Sports, Mega Pro Wrestling, Battleground Wrestling, All-Star Wrestling. All these are local in West Virginia, and all of them put awesome cards together. They have some of the best local talent, and they bring in some of the big name legends too, like Shane Douglas and Rhino and Mr. Hughes and Ron Simmons and guys like that. D'Lo Brown. I've been very fortunate to be able to do the stuff that I've been able to do in the short time that I've been doing it. And I give all that credit to my trainers. Like I said, Chris Cannon, Zayden Kane, Joseph Montgomery, all the class that lets the old man hang out with them, because they're all like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Here I am, 47, and there's a little bit of a generational gap there, but they're cool, and they let me come in and work with them and everything. And I don't know, it's a blast. Thank you guys for having me. This has been really cool. I've never done anything like this before, so if I get a chance to do it again, please, by all means, I would be glad to come back on.
And don't forget to come. You've never been to Tim's to the Nitro Antique Mall.
No, we're gonna do that here real soon. Probably after I've healed up and I can actually walk around and look.
Yeah, we'll definitely come check him out. Okay, but hey,
trust me, I'll bring money.
Yeah,
I won't just come and look. That's a promise. As you can see, I like to collect things. So
I get my wrestlers all put out.
What is it, Tim?
I have to get my box of wrestlers all cleaned up and put out.
Yes, absolutely. Well, hey, Jim. Thanks for hopping on with us, man, and speedy recovery. And remind me, and I'll personally come and check out one of the shows, whether that you're reffing or you're the timekeeper, whatever. Because I need to get out. I need to see these local shows. And
let me say this: a lot of all the outdoor shows that Appalachian Championship Wrestling are doing are free. So you can't beat free, and they're generally at either Buffalo Wild Wings or someplace where there's food around. So not only do you get wrestling, there's food and beer. So I mean, it's a good time. I know we at ICS. I can't really speak for the other ones, but at ICS, we try to encourage the family and everybody else. We don't. We have family friendly. PG stuff. We don't ever go extreme, hardcore or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have some no disqualification matches and things, but we don't. You're not going to come in and see light bulbs getting smashed over people's heads or anything like that.
Yeah, stuff like Sandman and New Jack, and you don't see any New Jack or Sandman. So
rest in peace, New Jack. Love New Jack, man.
That's right. Well, hey, man. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, man. And like I said, I'll be sure to come out and check out a show here real soon. and maybe I can see you in action when your foot gets better, and I'll be able to maybe hop in the ring and get a picture with you.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Right.
man. Anytime, and this is weird because like I've only had my picture taken like a bunch of times here now as a ref, and I'm like, why do you want your picture taken with me? Like I just go, don't do that. 1, 2. I just count. That's all I do. You want your picture taken with the dude that counts all day. Like I could host a Sesame Street special because I'm good at counting to 5 and 3 and 10. I can roll with that.
Right. All right, man. Well, hey, we'll catch up with you later, and we'll get up with you again, man. Talk some more wrestling, okay?
Thank you very much. It was nice
All
to
right.
meet you guys, Tim,
Nice to meet you.
Elizabeth, Melvin. Thank you,
Hey.
brother.
You got. I'm gonna send you that PlayStation screen name too, so we can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you guys are on PlayStation 4, look me up. I'm Sabbath 666 Jim.
All right, man. Hey, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Nice to
Bye.
meet you guys. Bye.
I have to get out to one of those shows, and it's been a long time since I've seen wrestling in person. Elizabeth, you got to get out yourself since you've never.
I want to come to the antique mall. That's my
Going
thing.
down?
I collect stuff.
What
And
you,
my brother, he thinks I collect too much stuff.
what you
How
have?
many pops do you have back there?
I have a ton. I don't know, 400 of them or something. It's embarrassing.
No, because pops is a big thing, right?
Had a
Yeah,
guy
I
come
like.
in
I
and
mean,
say-
I love them because I feel like they've made every action figure ever imaginable for every of my favorite characters ever. Right? Except when they made Axel Foley, that was it. I was just like, even more so than John McClane. Like I was really excited about that.
They're
Yeah,
in
I didn't even.
like an addiction.
What was that?
So I think the pops are almost like an addiction.
Well, they're terrible. You try to stop, and then they'll make somebody else, and you're like, oh, I love that show, and I love that actor, and oh, I gotta buy that one. And then it's just, it doesn't stop.
I had a guy come in one time. He had like 800 of them. He just kept bringing them in. I'm like, how long have you been collecting? I'm expecting to tell me like 3 or 4 years. He's like 2 months.
Was he selling them? Was that what he was doing?
Yeah, he was selling them all. I was like, okay, why are you selling them after 2 months? He's like, I got so tied up in this. He's like, I didn't put any money back for my rent, my bills, or anything. I just put it all back into these things. So he had to basically, he bought his collection for 2 months and sold it back off just to make his bills. Which
well, there's an app. Funko has an app, obviously, and you scan your pop. It uploads it into your collection, and then daily you can watch the collection, and it tells you what it's trending at, and how much your collection is worth based on what was sold that day or that, and it goes up and down. It's just really funny. It's funny. It's fun to watch it. It's like,
I didn't even know what they were, and until actually I come into your shop, I had no idea what they were, and honestly, the first time that I looked at them, I thought they were just something just corny. I thought they were just oversized bobbleheads. Hold on a second. Jim's got I think he's got a pop here to show us. He's still on there, but hold on just a second. Hold on.
And it's not even the right one I wanted, but it's Dracula. I am like a Dracula. I'm insane for Dracula. I've got all kinds of Dracula stuff.
Which one did you want?
I wanted the one from Bram Stoker's. Actually, the two that they put out from the movie.
You mean Gary
Dracula in the
Oldman?
top hat, and then Dracula in the red robe.
I have the one with the straight razor, where he's in the red robe, and I have the one where he's Vlad the Impaler in the red
armor.
And I have another one too, but I can't remember which one that is. I have another one. It's probably it's Vlad the Impaler with the helmet.
Oh,
there's one where he has the helmet, and one where he doesn't have the helmet.
See, I have Dracula is like one of my favorite books ever. Actually, probably my all-time. It's a toss-up between that and Frankenstein because I love both of those books. Dracula just more because the way it was written in diary form.
Right.
For Bram Stoker to sit there and put himself in those characters' minds and then to sit there and write it out as a diary, that's incredible. That's incredible.
You've seen the movie Gothic?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's about Mary Shelley, Lord Byron, Percy Shelley, and It's not Braun Strowker, it's somebody else, and they're all in a house together, and it's about how she came up with Frankenstein.
Oh God,
It's
I know
called
who
Gothic, or it's called American Gothic. It's called something along those. That's an old one. It's from like the 80s. It's
Now, when-
Gabriel, and it's some really famous people are in it.
when did the pops really started like going? Like when did
I don't know, because I only started collecting them maybe about 3 years ago.
3 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, I never, like I said, I didn't go down that rabbit hole because I'd end up with a wall, probably a whole room.
I've
two.
gone down the rabbit hole, come out of the rabbit hole, then gone back down in again.
See, I did that with Spawn figures back in the day. Like I went nuts for Spawn whenever
Well,
they
that's what
started.
Kobe's talking about. That there's no the Spawn. That Spawn is the missing.
I got obsessive to the point to where if I didn't have like the whole set, I would go, looking for stuff. And then I realized like all the money that I was spending on it, I didn't have room to keep it. You know what I mean? I was basically, running out of room for all this stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of it got ruined in a flood. Life happens. It was so bad that I had a lot of stuff put up in boxes. I didn't even look in the boxes to see what was damaged because I didn't want to see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that was just going to upset me anymore. So I was just tossing it. Anything that was soaked, I didn't look at it. I just tossed it out. I lost all kinds of figures. They were probably covered in mud and just nastiness. It was, it being what it is. But I've gone back and picked up a few things. I like to collect I like collecting anything that's obviously professional wrestling. Dracula. I got a thing for Godzilla too. I got Dracula and Godzilla are like the two biggest things that I go after. Anything that has to do with local professional sports, like semi-pro baseball, semi-pro football, things like that. Stuff that normal people don't go looking for. You know what I mean? Like I have Charleston Rockets football team memorabilia from like 1965.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
I used to have a team photo of them from back in the 70s or early 80s, back when Roger House was managing for them, and God, there's a few other players I knew on there.
See, I went to the games as a kid. My grandpa took me to the Rockets games.
One time we had a nice collection of local wrestling memorabilia from the 50s and 60s.
See, that's awesome. Ooh,
That
would be pretty cool.
I would love to get my hands on that stuff.
Speaking of belts, we had a couple of belts from U.S. Navy Wrestling World Championship, I guess. It was actually like Roman Greco style wrestling aboard the ships while they were.
That's pretty. That's
cool.
Awesome. That's really neat.
Mid-30s.
And this is from when?
They were from the mid-30s or so.
You still have these?
No, I sold those on eBay.
Oh, I was like, whoa. If you have them, put them up.
off.
I might be interested.
Yeah, weird thing is, the guy that I sold them to, he actually worked for eBay, but his side hustle on eBay was to sell wrestling belts. Mostly what he had was reproduction belts from professional wrestling, but he also had a good number of like Roman Greco style, Olympic style wrestling belts as well. They were really neat. Like the professional wrestling belts, the badges are huge on them. These badges were probably 4 by 6 inches. But they're
more modest.
Well, if you go back and look at the evolution of the wrestling belt, they start off big and then they get smaller, and then back through the 60s and 70s they start getting bigger, and then the 80s they just get really huge. Yeah. Like, now you see them now, and they don't even look like belts; they look like class rings.
Oh wow!
I'm since I got you on here and you run a collectibles shop, I'm into stuff like Muscle, MUSCLE. You remember the little pink muscle figures? Yeah. Old school Nintendo, original NES games, anything like that and stuff. That's that's definitely right up my alley. As a matter of fact, I would like to, if you've got one, an old NES system and the original pro wrestling game.
Oh, I know what he's talking. I remember that.
I remember that. Amazon Man.
Yeah,
that was my dude. Amazon Man.
Starman and King Slender and Giant Panther. I can name them all, man. I played that game so much. But I'm dating myself here. That was like 85, 86.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
wow.
12 years old, get ready to be 13 at that point in time.
I'm not sure what my inventory on the NES stuff is right now. The Muscle Man, I just sold my ring. Had a ring and probably a dozen wrestlers with it.
Ah,
Sold it about a month ago. And I know there's a few odds and ends of the characters floating around here somewhere in a box, but we don't get those in. All that
yeah,
often.
they're kind of hard to find nowadays. Either people get them and they just throw them away because they don't realize what they are, or they get them and they know what they are and they're not coming off. And that's what I run into, because like I'll be like, how much? And they're like, no. Like, come on, man. No.
Well, in 2 weeks, I should probably be back with Tim live in 2 weeks with him. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. But I should be back in 2 weeks with you, Tim, live, and we'll see what we can do. We gotta get Tim in the store and let him. Not Tim. There's too many M's. Whether get
Tim,
James,
Elizabeth.
whether get Tim, let's see, Jim at Tim's store, and then we'll have to so you can check out some stuff and have Elizabeth. Maybe one day she can trek down and check out your shop. And I've tried to encourage her to actually buy things from your auctions that you have. And I don't know if she's bought anything.
Well, I went to look. I did look like that Friday after the first podcast, and then something happened. I got sidetracked, and I didn't get back to it.
Shame.
But the last thing I need to do is really buy more stuff. Like, but I
says the lady with 400 pop figures behind her.
Look, I don't just collect. That's the problem. If I only collected one thing, we'd be all right here. I collect, everything, sports memorabilia. I collect anything that's sentimental. I mean, that's how I collect based on.
Well, see, I try to get stuff that I'm familiar with. Like as a kid, I just got this. Some of you guys might recognize this. Some of us from back in the day. It still glows in the dark.
That's pretty cool.
Ever.
Cool.
I paid like $25 for it. I found it on eBay, and I was like, it still has its box. Oh yeah, I'm buying that. Of course, I'm buying that. Hold
on, just a moment. I'm gonna close this out here so we can close this out because we're still live. But yeah, you can catch us here in 2 weeks. I should be back with Tim up in the shop, and we'll get B and him across from each other so we can see our lovely mugs. I've missed the smell of Aqua Velva aftershave that Tim wears. And
you didn't tell me that's what it smelled like. I'll be right there.
Aqua Velva. Who doesn't love Aqua?
Is it ice blue or is it classic?
I'll be there in 2 weeks.
but
we'll like old wood and antiques and nerd.
Well, we'll see you guys here again here live in 2 weeks, and with no Aqua Velva shaving lotion there.